September the 9th, 2025. Welcome back to the Two Witnesses Live. I am your host, Watchful, and we are here for another daily torment report. So in the effort of keeping this as short as possible, let's jump right into this because yesterday was crazy long going through Donald Trump and Elon Musk's posts. So let's get into this. Do a little refreshy here to make sure we got the latest. Let's see. Let's get an idea of what we're looking at here. Okay, 4 hours, 9 hours ago. No, that's the White House. 11 hours. Okay, so see, this is why this might be okay. So not as long as yesterday. That's good. All right, let's get right into this.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people, really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe.
If he was the monster that people try to make him out to be, he would just send the military in. He wouldn't be asking for permission. He wouldn't be telling them to, all you need to do is ask. I mean, that's the right way to do it. He's not a dictator. He's not a tyrant. Those of you, probably not viewers on this channel, but those who are using the excuse that they don't want to federalize anything in their state. They don't want any kind of military or National Guard in their state because of whatever fear. All they have to do is ask, because if he was the monster they were making him out to be, he wouldn't ask. And we've seen that. That's the thing about Donald Trump is throughout all of his time in politics, from his first term to the Biden administration to now, he could have handled things entirely differently. All the times they were attacking him, Russia, 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 all the times they were making stuff up, all the times they were suing him and going after him, he could have treated it differently. I mean, when he was in office, he had the power of, the executive authority. He could have done terrible things. I mean, he could have forced the election to his favor, but he didn't. Which tells me that he's exposing part of what it is that he's doing is he's exposing evil. He's exposing stupidity. All these people in charge who are allowing the crime and the death, all they have to do is ask. I think there's an important lesson in that. Moving on. Let's see. Congratulations to Missouri's incredible Republican state legislators who just overwhelmingly voted to pass their new, much fairer and improved congressional map. It was my great honor to win Missouri 6 times, including primaries in 2016, 2020, and 2024, getting the highest number of votes for any office in the history of the state. And this new map will give the wonderful people of Missouri the opportunity to elect an additional MAGA Republican in the 2026 midterm elections. The Missouri Senate must pass this map now, as is, to deliver a gigantic victory for Republicans in the Show Me State and across the country. I will be watching closely. Thank you, Missouri. Make America great again. That is a lot of red. Looks good. Let's see. I am pleased to announce that India and the United States of America are continuing negotiations to address the trade barriers between our two nations. I look forward to speaking with my very good friend, Prime Minister Modi, in the upcoming weeks. I feel certain that there will be no difficulty in coming to a successful conclusion for both of our great countries. I am pleased to report that Elizabeth Surkov, a Princeton student whose sister is an American citizen, was just released by Kataib Hezbollah, militant Hezbollah, and is now safely in the American embassy in Iraq after being tortured for many months. I will always fight for justice and never give up. Hamas, release the hostages now. Right. This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that Israel was attacking Hamas, which, very unfortunately, was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. This was a decision made by Prime Minister Netanyahu. It was not a decision made by me. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States, that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. I immediately directed Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. However, unfortunately, too late to stop the attack. I view Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the U.S. and feel very badly about the location of the attack. I want all of the hostages and bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. I also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told me that he wants to make peace. I believe this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. I also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. I assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil. I have directed Secretary of State Marco Rubio to finalize the defense cooperation agreement with Qatar. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Dude, he sounds pissed. Yeah, see, interesting things are happening. I wonder so it's interesting that this is happening this month, right? So there's supposedly meetings in September to discuss two-state solutions. Who knows what is happening leading up to that? So it'll be interesting to watch the effects of this ripple as we move closer to that meeting. I've noticed that Trump is putting a line in the sand, although I don't think he's really sticking to that line. Yesterday, he had mentioned that Hamas needs to release the remaining hostages and that he would not be warning them again. And one of his first posts is saying that they need to release the hostages. So I don't know if he's just trying to use strong language or if something's coming. Who knows? All right. What is this?
I'm thrilled to announce that the 2026 G20 conference will be held in one of our country's greatest cities. Beautiful, Miami, Florida, where we have the mayor with us.
It puts the city on the map as one of the truly great global cities.
It will be a concentrated group in Miami, seeing the best America has to offer with American leadership, thanks to President Trump.
I think this G20 meeting, where the world leaders will come to the great city of Miami, is going to be viewed as one of the most important meetings in global history.
We're also looking forward to having this as a showcase of American strength, vision, innovation, and power under your bold leadership, Mr. President. It is going to be the G20 in the Trumpian golden age.
Okay. White House released a statement on the Israeli strike in Doha.
I have a statement to read for all of you with respect to the Israeli strike in Doha, and here it is. This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace and believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Yeah. This is a repost. I think we already saw this.
Far too.
Yeah. White House President Donald J. Trump denounces senseless crime in Democrat-run cities and the horrific murder of a young woman in Charlotte by a deranged criminal monster. It's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help.
I think this is just a zoomed-in version of the one of this right there. So it's just like a bunch of reposts. G20 is coming to Miami. All right, we already watched that. We don't need to watch that again. All right. If the Fed had followed what we published, they would have raised rates in early 2021. The entire organization is broken. It needs to be fixed. They need to use modern sources of information. We strongly disagree with Ken Griffin. We think incompetence is more important than to defend theoretical independence. He, too late, has done a terrible job since he adopted a 2 target. It's too low. It's too rigid. They follow data that's years delayed. They don't believe that money supply matters. It's like the Pope not believing in Jesus. We think that's a much bigger problem than this notion that they are dependent or they're not independent. Jay Hatfield, Infrastructure Capital Advisor, CEO and CIO on Maria B. Chair Powell was late to raise rates. They need to come down here. There's no question about it. He's dragging his feet. The Fed's going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100. Greg Fornello, American Securities on Maria B. That's above my pay grade. A lot of this economic stuff. I trust Trump in this regard. I mean, he's proving himself. And I believe that what he's suggesting is that they should have lowered rates. I mean, obviously they should have lowered rates. It only affected, well, I mean, it's a big part of why there's so much inflation. Just there's so many things. Today I was listening to one of the tax advisors I like to listen to on YouTube, and he was talking about Trump's plan for paying off the national debt. The first attempt failed, and one of the plans they're floating is properly, and I'm sure you guys know this better than I do. I don't typically follow these kind of things when it comes to an economy and inflation, but since he's posting about it, but he had mentioned that one of the ideas is to properly value the gold that's sitting in the Fed, and then sell a bunch of stuff, sell a bunch of gold and pay down our debt, something like that. I don't know. I don't fully understand it, but I think it's very admirable that he is trying to pay down the debt. Yeah, I think that's great. I think we should all be debt free. Oh, no man, anything but to love one another. All right, so this is probably the last post from him. America has always been a nation that believes in the power of prayer. Together we will make our country greater, stronger, more united, and more faithful than ever before.
Thank you to all of the faith leaders, pastors, and patriots who have come to the Museum of the Bible for this historic meeting of the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty. Under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We will protect the Judeo-Christian principles of our founding. I am delighted to announce that just moments ago, I have personally delivered the Trump Family Bible given to me by my mother. It was used in both my inaugurations and will now be displayed right in the heart of our nation's capital. And that's an honor. For most of our country's history, the Bible was found in every classroom in the nation. Yet in many schools today, students are instead indoctrinated with anti-religious propaganda, and some are even punished for their religious beliefs. I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools. And I created the first ever Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. America has always been a nation that believes in the power of prayer, and we will never apologize for our faith, ever. Together we will make our country greater, stronger, more united, and more faithful than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
That's why they hate him. One of the reasons they hate him, the man loves God. All right, let's move on to Elon Musk. Hit a refresh here. Get the latest and greatest. All right, Mega Pack upgrades. What is this about? Mega block. Pre-engineered medium voltage block. So this is a new battery pack. Deploys faster. One of the things that Elon has stated is that it doesn't. There's a lot of misinformation on what it would take to sustainably power the United States, and two of the technologies that he has stated are needed are solar power and batteries. Obviously, solar during the day, batteries during the night, and many supposed experts push back against him. And he's a man of action. He's literally proving what his points. So it's interesting to see this, and this has happened time and time again. He's deployed these mega packs to solve grid problems many times before, in against the naysayers. So he's a man who values. He's constantly dealing with people who are liars and supposedly wise, you know what I mean, who think they know everything, which just in all categories of life you have those, that type of mentality where people are so caught up on what they think they know. He is a master at getting through to the truth, that's for sure. All right. New York Times racial hierarchy, crime against Erna Zarutska was committed by a capital B black man against a lowercase white woman. You are a second-class citizen. After the video's release, a number of influential conservatives also accused major news outlets, including the New York Times, of ignoring the story because the crime was committed by a black man against a white woman. Oh, they're highlighting the big black man, little white woman. The reason for the media silence is racial. Dinesh D'Souza, the right-wing commentator, wrote in an online post on Sunday, if the killer were white, little w, this would get coverage. Of course, if it were a white assailant murdering a black, capital B, victim, then it would be front page headlines everywhere. The idea that mainstream news outlets downplay crimes committed by capital B black people has become more of a talking point in some conservative circles in recent years. The critique has emerged even as liberal critics of the news media have argued that crime coverage, coverage by American news outlets is distorted by anti-capital B black bias. In North Carolina, as in other southern states, newspapers in the Jim Crow era often egregiously exaggerated stories about capital B black criminality. Among other things, such stories served as a precursor to a lowercase white supremacist uprising in Wilmington, North Carolina. What did he say about that? Why is white always in lowercase, but black is uppercase at New York Times? The New York Times is deliberate, precise, and comprehensive in its anti-white racism. Truth. Man speaks truth. The big lie the Democrats told about violent crime is that it's systemic and therefore no one's really responsible. If the system is to blame, then you fund a bunch of nonprofits that don't do anything besides give jobs to unqualified radicals. The reality is that the gross majority of violent crime is committed by a very small group of people, and we should be throwing them in prison. Agreed. Yes. What it comes down to is this. Do you have more sympathy for those highly likely to commit murder or more for those the risk of being murdered? If the former, you are a disgusting human being, and yet so many on the radical left choose this. Truth. Again. All the books were cooked in 2024. The scam was to help Kamala Harris win, but making the economy look good. And also as a backup, Trump could be blamed for a bad economy if he won. All government data is presumed fake. Total overhaul required. Lots of firings needed. All data is fake. That was a repost. Just in, extended new video from multiple angles, time synced, showing the stabbing of man. I'm getting kind of tired of watching this stuff. 100% hate crime. All right, moving on. Breaking. Colorado sheriff admits he was forced to release a very dangerous inmate from jail because of state law that requires criminals found incompetent to stand trial to be released. What?
But because
it's a very violent crime, and how rapidly this person has accumulated contacts with law enforcement, it's concerning.
Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams is warning his residents of a man he released from jail, not by his own choosing, but because the suspect was ruled incompetent to stand trial.
With that ruling, we're forced to release that individual.
That individual is Debisa Ephraim, a 21-year-old who Reams says is seen in these videos fighting northern Coloradans. The videos, too graphic to be shown in full, show men being knocked unconscious and then continuously punched in the face while lying on the ground.
He's a very dangerous person, and his actions, from what we can tell, were unprovoked.
So why did he walk free without ever seeing a jury? Reams says it's the result of House Bill 1034, signed into law last year by Governor Jared Polis. The law, at its core, said those found incompetent to stand trial should be sent to mental health care instead of incarceration. But that is contingent on the suspect qualifying for that care, which Ephraim did not, Reams says.
Stupid laws.
So Monday morning, he walked free from charges like attempted murder and the cell that he lived in for the last 5 months.
This or the case that happened in Aurora was
This is prophetic.
Those both are very giant highlights to the mistake that was made. It needs to be corrected. Someone's going to get hurt, and someone's going to get hurt bad. All I can do at this point is make them aware that this person is out and about, and pray that he doesn't re-enter those criminal actions. But
it's a broken system.
Honestly,
the beast. I wonder if that's why God calls it a beast system, because they're broken. This is insane. At Jared Polis. All right. We've open sourced the X algorithm, not because we think it's smart, but to show its many flaws. Every week we try to make it better, not always succeeding, but to be as transparent we are with community notes. Let's see what else he said. Like democracy, it's the worst algorithm, except for all the others. I thought he released this a long time ago. Is he just responding to somebody? No, he's just making a post. Did they do something more than they previously did? I'm going to investigate this because I'm kind of curious of what he means by they open source the algorithm. It was one of the first things he did when he bought Twitter was open source the algorithm. So maybe they've done more. A society that burns neighborhoods and calls for the defunding of the police for the guy on the left and largely ignores the public butchering of the woman on the right is the one that is drowning in the infinity pool of suicidal empathy. As Gad Sad accurate states, the West is dying from suicidal empathy. This is just a snapshot of the current situation. All the heuristic code will get scrapped in favor of a Grok AI recommendation system. Here's a breakdown of the updated X algorithm released earlier today. All right, so it was a new release. Highlights. Tweep cred system still exists 2+ years after Elon said he wanted to scrap it. Offensive terms get a 80% deboost, but not clear what exactly these are. See, here's the thing. There's a lot of people who blame Elon from the moment he took ownership of Twitter for not fixing all the problems. This is evidence that he's been trying to fix problems, and in an effort, I'm sure, to appease the critics and to, illustrate the problem that they're trying to solve, he's open sourcing it so you can see the problem. Spammy behavior such as replying to accounts that don't follow you leads to shadow bans. Video views, quotes, and bookmarks are big boosts to an account's reach. Okay, this is just a snapshot of the current situation. All the heuristic code will get scrapped in favor of Grok AI recommendation system. Okay. Repost. Today I led a letter calling for the removal of Magistrate Judge Teresa Strokes, who released the 14-time offender. Good. The average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide. This is a problem. Or that is a problem. That is a problem. We need to keep violent people in jail. 11 times. Wow. Another repost. Anthony Jelks raped a small child, giving her an STD. Jelks was freed from... Yeah, we already read about this. All right. WTF, 180 days. Rochester man gets 180 days in jails for raping 2 girls under the age of 9. That's it. How about, dare I say, death penalty? Okay, just to rub it in, remember 2023, Elon firing 80% of Twitter staff, renaming it to X, and everyone predicting it would go to 0. Look where it is now. Number 6. Just to rub it in. I get it. All right. The New York Times still not published a single thing about the murder of the Ukrainian refugee. Interesting. Wow. 13 hours ago. May 2025, Columbia, South Carolina. Her name is, man, there's just a lot of this. He has already been arrested 40 times. Repeat violent offender will eventually kill. You know, they're highlighting a lot of one thing that it's a challenge for people who aren't suffering torment is they have a false sense of security that it's not happening. It's happening if you're not suffering tribulation. By highlighting this stuff, they're showing where the tribulation is and what the cause of the tribulation is so that it can be fixed. And hopefully it does get fixed, because you've got him highlighting it and you got Trump working to fix it. It's nice that they're working in tandem. And hopefully, as we all know, it will eventually. I mean, if we are where we think we are in the end times, our redemption is very close. There has to be a reason that this is happening. There has to be a reason that they're highlighting this information. I believe that it's probably relevant to the things that are coming, the things that are ahead of us. A government against its people is illegitimate. Agreed. Megapack. I'm just skipping the repost for now, just to keep this quick. Most crime is committed by people with 3+ prior arrests. It's a relatively small handful of criminals causing a lot of the problems we see. Incarcerating a small number of repeat violent criminals would vastly improve public safety. This must be done now. Agreed. All right, Bullseye. Ben Shapiro says, if the 23-year-old killed on the train was black, there would have been riots in the streets. Yeah, agreed. If you stop a violent black man, you make national news. If you are a violent black man, you don't. All right. They won't release raw crime data. They routinely mislabel offenders as white. Now they won't release crime videos. San Fran Transit, we refuse to release crime surveillance videos because it will make people racist. Seriously? Elon's at 100%. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of more on this stuff. We get the point. One thing that isn't discussed is how incredibly demoralizing it must be for the cops who arrest. Yep, we saw that. All right, all right, we're done. So that is your daily torment report from Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And one thing I have before we go is one of the reasons why I'm trying to keep this shorter today is I've got the app done for the prophecy claims, and I'm going to deploy it tonight. I'll be sharing the link with you guys tomorrow. I've got to clean it up, get it deployed. So this is how it's going to work. So initially it's going to be deployed as a web app. It'll probably, I'll post the link tomorrow. Depends on how the deployment goes. And then I'll start working on deploying it to the Android market. So if you have an Android phone, you'll be able to install the app and use your phones if you want to submit prophecy claims from your phone. iOS will come later. And the reason is iOS is expensive and it takes a long time to get stuff into their market. So that will come once the app gets established. And I don't want to invest any time or money into iOS until I know that this thing's actually going to accomplish what it is that I set out to accomplish, which the idea is this is a tool where we can record prophecy claims. So if you notice, if you have any data regarding prophecy fulfilled in the past, present, or future, I'm trying to make this a tool where you can record those things, and then we can analyze it and plot it and confirm it. So I have a lot of plans for this, and I really hope that this works out, because this will allow us to identify false prophets. It'll allow us to identify real prophets. So when somebody says something and it actually comes to pass, we'll know that they're legit. So that's one objective. The other thing is visualizing the data. There's so many people with data out there. I want to get it into one location where we can analyze and visualize it and see how it's coming together. The whole objective of this is because Jesus in John 14 said, the reason I told you these things beforehand is so that you will believe. And I think that this is a path, because I've been racking my brain. How can we reach those who don't believe? For example, the Jews don't believe that Yeshua was the Messiah. By these things coming to pass, if we can package it in a way that it's irrefutable, I think we'll reach people. So that's kind of the objective of this. So I'm going to be deploying that tonight. The first iteration of this will be a web app, and it's only going, so the first iteration, so all I've got done right now is you can submit the data. So it's basically a dashboard and a form where you can submit the information and edit the information and update the information. And by getting that into a database, the next thing that I'm going to be working on once this is deployed is the visualization aspect of it. So I'm going to start working on the timeline to where we can see this displayed on the timeline. Well, the two things is analyzing it to organize it and then displaying it on a timeline. And as this, if this thing kind of takes off and people are using it, maybe we'll implement the ability to have your own timeline, so you can build timelines for your own visualization. And then maybe you could push them into the main timeline. That way there's a kind of a method for recording and validating your own information. So that's the plan. I'm going to be working on that as soon as I get off the show. So before we do that, let me go see if there's any questions or comments. All right. Hey, everyone. Missouri residents have their healthcare insurance paid for. That's nice. Enough is enough already. Build the third temple and give the man his golden glory already. I don't think the temple's going to be built. I could be wrong. If it is going to be built, I'm imagining that that's going to be the signal that's the end of the grace administration, assuming we are in a grace administration. That would be indicative that we're no longer in that period of time. It would mark a transition. But I do, as you may or may not know, I believe 1 Corinthians 3:16 that says we are the temple of God. So I don't know if the temple is actually going to get built. I know there's a lot of people who think it is, because their story of the end time Antichrist needs a temple to go into to declare himself God. I see that differently, but we won't go there for now. All right, Caroline had a busy day. Just so happens to line up with Revelations, the blood moon, and there's grand fixed crossed in astrology are in along with 5 cycles of Mercury, which is 10 horns. Okay. Any chance should be allowed to revise the laws on the spot with a judgment or make exceptions if need be. Dare I say, judgments are already being done by Jesus as man on earth's been here for years. Okay. Are you saying that Jesus is on the earth right now judging? Do you have any evidence of that? I don't think that calls into question so many things in the scripture, because what's the whole point of returning? What's the whole point of being seated at the Father's right hand? Yeah. What's the whole point of Revelation 4, where it talks about there's no one found to open the seals, and then suddenly there's one found who's worthy to open the seals? Will you use AI to match all data? Yeah, I'll probably use AI so the way I'm thinking about it is it will probably organize the data, get it into a structured format that can be consumed by the visualization aspect. And then we can probably add in something that can, because right now, as it stands, I get a lot of information from people and via email, websites. Well, not the website anymore. I just suffice it to say I get a lot of information from people who want me to look at and evaluate data. And if we can scale this up, I think it'll be more it'll be more useful for everybody. I mean, I don't know everything, and I do my best. I've established a system for validating things myself, but AI is a force multiplier. I understand there's people who have issues with AI, but in my mind, it's a tool. I work with it every day. So very likely we'll use AI to see what kind of information we can extract from the prophecy claims, the data. I'm expecting that we're going to see things we never saw before. Yeah, it's not my job to create the law. Okay. It's interesting because I've seen the proven things. They come to pass. Yeah, I don't know why. Life is sacred. All right. And I have all my timelines ended. We are in the wilderness waiting for the sixth seal. All right. Will we see other people's posts? So eventually, yeah, you'll be able to make your posts public or private, your data public or private. You'll be able to share your information with other people so that they can use it in their own timelines. So eventually we'll get there. Right now, it's literally just a way of submitting information. And then we can just, the sky's the limit on what we can do with it. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody does this. So this will be kind of the first tool of its kind to be able to ingest prophecy claims and crowdsource the, validating observation, what it means, stuff like that. So I'm very excited about this. I hope you guys are excited about it. But there we go. So I'm going to go to that. I'm going to start working on deploying that, and I'll let you guys know where it's at and how to start using it. Should be able to start using it probably tomorrow. All right. Keep your eyes open. God bless.